Coronavirus pandemic changes how we're going about our lives, especially with regards to working remotely. This is even seen on the federal level, from Congress to the Department of Defense. While the DOD has warned employees to be vigilant in implementing security precautions, is it enough? Here to discuss this further is a co-founder of ChinaTechThreat.com, Dr. Roslyn Layton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you.
The Department of Defense was audited for the very first time in 2018. There was no evidence of fraud, but a major fault was found in IT security that could be easily hacked. What has the DOD done to fix the situation moving forward, since thousands of employees are working remotely?
Well, thank you for this chance to talk about it. Well, first of all, I think we should credit President Trump, who wanted an audit of this entity that gets $740 billion a year. Over 1.3 million people work for the U.S. military. And of course, many of us have been in the military ourselves or have family members, and we know there's many dedicated individuals. What the issue is, however, is that it's the military bureaucracy. It's a huge administration, and itself is a place of a cyber attack. Our adversaries are trying to infiltrate the computer systems of the military to get information, to steal military secrets, and so on. And what this audit found was that while the Department of Defense does so many things right and well, it is failing on the cybersecurity front. And I attribute that to two things. First of all, the military top brass, if they're old school, they look at, they don't understand cyberspace as a field of war. They are really thinking about things in the physical world, and they somehow think about cyberspace as a stepchild, when in fact that is a field of war today. That's one issue. And then the second issue is, for so many years, and again, not till President Trump's leadership, many of them didn't recognize China as a threat. And they didn't, they would discount the kind of attacks that would come from China, the intelligence to the military would discount a lot of these things. So I think that the Department of Defense recognizes what these issues are, but they have been behind for a couple of years, and they have to quickly get back on track. What I will say, though, is that if you want to know more about the audit, if you go to the Department of Defense Inspector General section, you can find everything about the audit. They track how well they did, how well they're improving, and that you can see for yourself as a taxpayer, as a member of the public, how is your money being spent, and how is the military progressing on the areas where it needs to do better.
And it's interesting because you mentioned how the Trump administration, they've been doing their part, and it's also important to recognize how the president, he was very adamant of not having Huawei or ZTE because those are Chinese affiliated networks. Those are big tech giant networks, companies rather. But let me ask you this, the DOD's Director of Washington Headquarters Services says that many employees require secret or top secret access to classified systems that cannot be made available in a teleworking situation. But they did say they will issue detailed guidelines to employees working from home on how to protect sensitive information. Are these guidelines enough? What are they, and are they enough?
Well, thank you for asking that question. So there within the Pentagon itself, it's what they call the reservation. It's a gigantic space in Washington, D.C. It has a system of management services, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Muir, he's in charge, and they have an intranet for the employees working there. And I'm not sure if they planned for a situation where everyone would have to telework, but they sort of had three levels of security, where those people who only need email access, those people who have to use emails with files, and then those people who have to be in a secure location. Now we have a situation where everybody has to work from home, and I don't think they were fully prepared. Nevertheless, I think that group that you're talking about under Mr. Muir, they have stepped up. They're trying to adjust for the situation. They had to do things like stop allowing employees to look at YouTube because it took up too much traffic on the network. So there's a lot of things that they had to adjust. But it is in these situations where, people themselves can be compromised. You can get an email and say, oh, click on this link for a special COVID tracing program. And that is one way that hackers will try to infiltrate our military networks by going through individuals, getting to trick them through an email.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.